Before air conditioning, summer wasn't a season. It was a boss fight you were guaranteed to lose. You didn't check the weather. You checked if you still wanted to live. In 1902, Willis Carrier invented the air conditioner. Before that, humanity just suffered out loud for 10,000 years. And they did it wearing wool, 3 layers of it, because modesty was somehow more important than not dying. Cities were the worst. New York had 2 million horses. Each one produced 20 pounds of manure daily. In summer heat, that manure cooked. The streets were a simmering stew of filth. The smell alone could knock you unconscious, but the heat made it airborne. You were breathing soup. Architecture was the only cheat code. Thick walls, 2 feet of stone. They took all night to cool down. By morning, it was finally cool. By afternoon, it was a pizza stone. High ceilings were the next trick. Heat rises. The floor was slightly less lethal. The ceiling was a death zone. Transom windows above doors helped a little. Cross ventilation was just a fancy way of saying I have 2 windows. It didn't work, but it gave you something to look at while you melted. The Persians built wind catchers, ancient towers that caught breeze and funneled it down into buildings. It was basically a straw for wind, the original AC. Meanwhile, Americans built sleeping porches, which is exactly what it sounds like, a porch for sleeping. Because the inside of your house was a pizza oven, and the outside was merely a sauna. Mosquitoes were just the interest you paid on the loan. Then there was the ice trade. Workers cut massive blocks from frozen ponds in winter. They shoved them in sawdust for insulation, then shipped them by boat to places that had never seen a frozen pond. Your cold drink was cooled by a dead industry and a lot of sawdust. Ice boxes in homes were wooden cabinets with a block inside. You had to empty the drip tray constantly. It was a part-time job just to keep your milk from becoming cheese. Ice was expensive. 1 cube in your lemonade was a flex. Ice cream was a status symbol. You had to be Vanderbilt to afford a brain freeze. Fashion completely gave up. Men wore seersucker suits, puckered cotton with air pockets. You looked like a wrinkled paper bag, but at least you weren't boiling. White linen was see-through and sweaty. Modesty died in August. In some cities, doctors recommended skipping underwear entirely. Summer was so bad that society agreed to just not wear pants properly. Hand fans weren't just accessories, they were social weapons. Fans had their own language. Fan to the left meant no, to the right meant yes. Rapid fanning meant you were being watched. It was encrypted texting for people who smelled like horse. At night, cities turned into refugee camps for people who couldn't handle their apartments. Rooftop sleeping was standard. Entire families slept on tar. Falling off was just a Tuesday. Fire escapes became outdoor bedrooms. The city looked like a vertical homeless shelter. Central Park had 10,000 people sleeping in the grass. Police didn't stop it because they were also sleeping. The East River was worse. People floated on planks, doors, and barrels. Trash flotillas of desperate people. In 1896, a heat wave killed 1,500 people. Asphalt melted. Horses dropped dead in the street. The city was a horror movie. But here's the part that makes you lose faith. They didn't just lack cooling, they actively made it worse. Doctors believed in miasma theory, the idea that disease came from bad air. And they thought night air was the worst kind. So during heat waves, they closed their windows. On purpose to keep the bad air out, they trapped themselves in ovens because their doctors had the scientific literacy of a confused pigeon. The 1915 New York heat wave was the worst. Indoor temperatures hit 120 degrees. People died in their beds because they were following medical advice. The advice was also to drink hot tea to cool down. It didn't work. They just sweated more and died hydrated. Then came Willis Carrier. He didn't invent it for humans, he invented it for a printing press. Ink was smudging in the humidity. Humans were an afterthought. We got air conditioning because magazines were sticky. Now you can't live without it. Your ancestors conquered continents in wool underwear. You can't handle an Uber with no AC. But it gets better. Once Carrier's invention worked, nobody wanted it for people. Factories got it first. Textile mills needed stable humidity to stop thread from snapping. Workers were just a bonus side effect. You were less important than a spool of cotton. Then movie theaters figured it out. In the 1920s, theaters advertised refrigerated air like it was a superpower. People bought tickets just to sit inside. Nobody cared what the movie was. People fell asleep during films just to enjoy the cold. Movie attendance in summer skyrocketed overnight. Hollywood accidentally became a summer industry because of a machine built for factories. The summer blockbuster exists because of humidity control for cotton mills, which is honestly insane. The White House got AC in 1929. Most American homes didn't get it until the 1960s, meaning the president was cool for 30 years before you were. Your great-grandmother was still sweating through church in 1958. while the president was chilling in the Oval Office like it was a walk-in freezer. Democracy has never been that fair. By the 1970s, AC was standard, and it changed where humans could even live. Places like Phoenix and Houston were basically unlivable before AC. Nobody in their right mind chose to live in a desert without cooling. Once AC arrived, millions moved south. Entire cities exist today because a machine let people ignore the sun. Vegas shouldn't exist. It exists because of AC. Compare that to now. Heat waves today are getting worse, not better. Climate change means the heat is winning again, but now heat waves kill people with AC too, because the power grid can't keep up. So we invented a solution to summer, and summer invented a counter. It's basically an arms race between humans and a giant ball of fire 93 million miles away. And somehow we're still losing. Air conditioners actually make outside heat worse. They just move the heat outside instead of destroying it. In cities packed with buildings, that heat has nowhere to go, so it just bounces between buildings, cooking the whole street. This is called the urban heat island effect. Your AC unit is quietly making your neighbor's life worse. It's a heat version of I'm not touching you. So basically we spent 10,000 years fighting heat, finally invented a machine to beat it, and immediately used that machine to make the planet hotter. Which is honestly the most human thing we've ever done. Your ancestors would look at your life and lose their minds. You control the temperature of a room with your voice. They died from a mosquito bite. You complain the room is kind of humid. The gap between them and you is the size of the Grand Canyon. So basically, comfort is new. Discomfort is your entire species' default setting. You are the outlier, not the norm, which is honestly insane when you think about it. So yeah, next time your AC breaks for one afternoon and you act like it's the apocalypse, remember your ancestors slept next to a rotting horse and called it Tuesday. Humans are weird. Anyway, I'm going to go stand directly in front of my AC vent like a weirdo, because I earned it after 10,000 years of ancestral suffering.